Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Room 1 podcast. This morning I had Dr. Deed Harrison with me, who will be speaking here at Room 1 live in Las Vegas, April 19th and 20th, later this year. This is something you want to be. Dr. Deed is on the leading edge of research in the chiropractic profession, as you probably know if you're a chiropractor already. And he has some new information to share with us at Room 1. And he's going to give us a little bit of a preview today so that you can decide if you want to be there. So welcome, Dr. Deed. We're excited to have you with us later this year, but we're very excited to have you with us this morning as well.
Hey, thank you, Ben. I just want to say it's an honor and a privilege to be considered a speaker again at Room 1 in Las Vegas. Last year was great for me, and I hope it turned out great for you and your family. So just a big thank you to you for having me back.
Oh, absolutely. You over-delivered last year, and we like that. So what are you going to be speaking about specifically this year at Room 1?
Yeah, as always, people see me as a technique individual, and hopefully they see me as a technique leader, not quote-unquote a peddler per se. But as a leader in the technique area, I am always going to talk about new things with chiropractic biophysics technique, some of the cutting-edge things that we're doing to improve our patient care and our patient outcomes, but also I'm going to talk about something that has an impact for every chiropractor on the planet. And it doesn't matter whether or not a chiropractor uses X-ray in their practice. What I'm going to share has an impact on them. There's a huge issue going on politically right now, and it's really from the top down in the chiropractic profession, where there's groups that have political power and research power that are trying to restrict and or remove chiropractic X-ray rights throughout the world. And even if you don't use X-ray in your practice, this is something you have to be aware of. You have to decide, do you want that right taken away from your professional colleagues, or do you want that right as a mainstay? Whether or not you choose to use it, there is going to be a time and a place where you're going to refer to a colleague that uses X-ray to diagnose and assess the spine for vertebral subluxation or for spine displacement. And I think when we look at it from this perspective, we all need to unite around this concept and say, you know what, we're not going to tolerate it. We have legal rights to use X-ray in our practices. As a group, as an organization, as a profession, we've fought to A, achieve this in the early days, and B, maintain this. And now that right is trying to be stripped from us, not by the outside, but by the inside of our chiropractic organization.
And what I hear you saying here, too, is that even if somebody doesn't use X-ray, but this is a classic case of give an inch and they'll take a mile. So if they are successful taking away the X-ray, what would it be next?
That's correct. Okay. And this affects us dramatically in the United States because we already have X-ray privileges, and they're trying to strip those away. They're trying to restrict chiropractic colleges from utilizing X-ray, from teaching it to the students on a regular basis. Like the student utilization rates of X-ray have dramatically dropped over the last decade, to where many of the colleges are taking X-rays 20% or less of the time. And this becomes a frustrating thing because the average practicing chiropractor that just graduates, I can tell you, does not know how to read an X-ray. And I know that because I train thousands of them on a regular annual basis. And I can tell you they don't know what they're seeing anymore on an X-ray. And then politically, internationally, some areas, chiropractors are still fighting for their rights, and before they even achieve X-ray regulation and X-ray practice rights, it's being stripped from them in European countries and around the world, really. So this becomes a huge issue that in the United States, we've got to be the tip of the spear to make sure that this doesn't happen, A, to us, and B, to our international colleagues.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So at Room 1, are you going to be delivering some information that makes it useful for doctors to fight back against this?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to talk about the key issues involved with this, and not just from a political conspiracy perspective. That's not my thing. Anybody that knows me, you know me now. It's always from a research orientated perspective.
Right.
I'm going to share with you what is actually going on from a political and a research perspective, and then what the profession needs to do about it to make sure that we have a voice that says, hey, we're not going to go down without a fight. And, to me, this is like if somebody tried to take away my right to use nutrition in my practice, I would stand up and say, no way, I'm not going to do that. Right. Because nutrition is a huge part of what we do in principled chiropractic practices, right? And it's the same thing with x-ray. Obviously, what we do is the adjustment as the mainstay, but we want to make sure we can diagnose, detect, analyze, and correct vertebral subluxation using x-ray techniques.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And we can't let them take something that even some people don't use, because once the door's open, it's open.
Yeah, and just everybody out there too. I will cover some cool technique ideas, some interesting ways to approach patient care with cutting edge research data, and a couple case studies. So it's not just going to be a political or a chiropractic rights driven type of presentation, but that's one of the key things I'll be addressing.
Okay, good. So I would like to ask you this. This is a question we've received. A doctor was considering whether he should bring his staff or not to come listen to the seminar. He said, is it going to be a little too technical for them, or are they going to be able to get some information that makes them better in my practice? What would you say to that question?
Yeah, that's like, and I don't mean any disrespect to this doctor or that question, but to me that's like saying, hey, should I bring my tires when I drive my car?
Okay.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't work. It doesn't go down the road correctly. So what I mean by that is if a doctor, the leader of the team, goes and he or she's the only one that gets the information and gets the motivation and the excitement and the energy, that's a major, major problem. The vehicle's not going to work. The practice is not going to work. You got to have your whole team on board with a congruent message. And so always we say, let's bring the staff to one of these events.
That's a great analogy. Good. And what would you say to a doctor who hasn't made the commitment yet? They're thinking maybe it'll work out, but they don't know schedule-wise. Maybe it's a money thing. Maybe they don't know if they should take the time off from their practice. What would you say to them?
Yeah, number one, you have to just make a decision. You can't be on the fence. You either have to do it or you don't, and you schedule for it. No big deal. And if you don't commit to something, then you're actually not going to follow through with anything in your professional career and then your personal career. So you just have to do it. And then finances are always a concern, but the reality of it is when you invest in yourself and your business, that's when it pays tenfold. So things like this are self-investment types of things. So really the small amount that you put in, you're going to see that come out of it if you put in the time and the attention.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. I'm looking forward extremely to your presentation, and I know a lot of other doctors that are too. So we will see you in Vegas, April 19th and 20th. If you are listening to this and don't have your tickets yet, make sure you get them now, because Valentine's Day, the prices go up by $50 a head. You can get those at room1lasvegas.com. And on room1lasvegas.com, you can see all the information, all the speakers, hotel, everything you need to know. And the phone number's there, too, if you have any questions. We'll see you in Las Vegas.